Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. This is Grimnag.
And Frieren.
You really have a hard time not saying your name, don't you?
Yes, I do.
We can just call ourselves by our real names. I don't think
No,
anybody cares. But,
no, no. I like to keep a bit of things private.
all right. Well, this week, as promised, here's our second episode for the week. This time, again, we go looking around at random news articles and we try to pick stuff kind of fun most of the time. These ones are pretty straightforward and simple ones. But let's get started with the first article. This being from the Asahi Shimbun over in Japan. The number of visitors in Japan hits 10 million at fastest ever pace. I'm wondering if this is from like just this year. Is it 10 million or is it for 10 million from last year? Because holy crap, that's a lot of people just to visit your country. But then I found out how many people actually visit just the opera house every year, and it's like 2 to 3 million people.
Why?
Because it's the opera house. It's one of the most
And
famous buildings on the planet.
the Opera House is so overrated.
Well, because you're used to it. It's
No,
like
I
familiarity.
know. I've been in there once. I went to listen to Lord of the Rings Orchestra, John
Mm-hmm.
Williams,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was,
Mm-hmm.
or whoever did it. I can't remember. I get confused on who does what. And yes, the orchestra was great, but the Opera House,
It's a famous building.
I
It
don't
is
care. It's
iconic.
ugly.
It's iconic.
It's ugly. I don't like it.
Well, let's see what Japan's doing to bring all the people in, since our ugly building brings in so many people too.
Japan's prettier.
The Ginzan Onsen, a popular spot for foreign tourists in Obanazawa, Yamagata Prefecture in Masahiro. This is one we see all the time in all those walkthroughs. That snowy onsen village with the old tiny
Oh,
buildings.
the one with the river in the middle or something?
Yep, that one right there. Perfect.
Oh, that one, yeah.
And the foot baths right up there. Japan crossed the 10 million visitor mark at the fastest ever pace this year, reaching that level already in March. Official data showed on April 16th as a weak yen propelled an unprecedented tourism boom. Holy crap, they had 10 million visitors just this year, just in the first 3 months.
Wow.
Jeez. Arrivals of foreign visitors for business and leisure reached 3.5 million last month, bringing the total through the first quarter to 10.54 million. Data from the Japan National Tourism Organization, JNTO, showed. Last year, Japan reached 10 million visitors in April. For the whole of 2025, tourist arrivals are on pace to eclipse last year's all-time level of 36.87 million. Jesus, they have more visitors in a year than Australia has people living in it.
I was going to have a look and see what the population in Australia was lately.
Yeah, last time I looked, it was about 25 million. About.
Mm.
But it's definitely not 36.87, unless there's a whole lot more illegals as she pulls out her
Well,
phone to look while we're talking.
yes. Well, it might be, a lot of people have had a lot of babies lately.
Uh, the nation's famed cherry blossom season, yeah, because this is the time of year I'd love to visit Japan because of the cherry blossoms, and April. In March, so we saw record arrivals for any single month among travelers from the United States and Canada, the JNTO said. The boom in tourist numbers and their spending has been a welcome boost to Japan's economy. Purchases by visitors, classified as exports in national accounts,
Here
are
you
now
go.
Japan's second biggest export sector after autos and ahead of electronic components.
We have had, since last year, an extra 400,000 people in
So,
Australia.
so what do we have?
So we're at 27
Ah,
781,400,
cool.
up from 27,309,396 from last year, September last year.
Do they do a census every year, or when's the last time they
They,
actually
they
did a
normally
proper
do a
census?
census like every couple of years.
Because I know in the States it's every 10 years.
Population growth of 0.94%.
Okay.
So either people are moving back or to Australia because of all the troubles in the world,
Mm.
or people are just having more babies.
Or other immigrants. Don't forget, we have a lot of like Lebanese, Chinese, Uruguayans that move here.
Didn't I just say people that move here or move back here?
Hey, said move back here.
Or to here, I said. Oh
Okay.
my god, you do not listen.
I listen fine.
No, you don't.
The boom
Anyway,
in tourist numbers and their spending has been a welcome boost to Japan's economy. Spending by foreign visitors in January-March period amounted to 2.27 trillion yen, or $16 billion American. Preliminary data for the Transport Ministry showed up 28.4% from last year. Yeah, I guess the Japanese yen is definitely lower than the American dollar, so you get a lot more money visiting Japan than you
We should go live there.
agree. In 2024, visitors spent a record 8.1 trillion yen, up 53% from the prior year. So that's our friends in Japan, how they're doing. So good to know. People are visiting the archipelago of Japan.
Good.
I just like saying the word archipelago.
I have no clue why.
It's a fun word, archipelago. And I can't roll R's or anything, so. All right, next up, we're going to check out the first folding e-reader is smaller than a paperback. Now I use a Galaxy Fold because my boss gave me one for Christmas a couple years back, and I like it. And you're still using a traditional like Galaxy.
I use traditional books. I read books.
I'm not saying you don't read books. I'm saying just in your phone. You use a regular phone.
I don't read anything on my phone.
I know you don't. I'm saying you have a regular phone. I'm just saying the experience to folding things we have right now is my phone, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. That's all I was leading with.
Okay.
Then we'll get to the point that you only read with regular books.
Brag. Ooh, I've got a.
That's not bragging. That is proper lead into the story. That's all it is. Because next you can lead into the next bit about what happened to my e-reader.
Oh, the Kindle you lost?
Yes, exactly. I knew you were going to get there eventually. The Moonlight 5 features an 8-inch folding e-ink screen that's been tested to survive over 200,000 bends. I think the whole testing of screens being foldable is kind of like, okay, we know it works now. It's now kind of like a thing. And you always have a weird line in the middle, just like in the middle of a book.
I like reading books.
There's nothing wrong with books. I like
with
book
my
books.
my book lamp. I like literally turning the page. My book smells the feel of the paper underneath my fingertips.
I have no qualms with any of those things. But at the same time, I have
the pretty colorful covers.
Been reading on the monitor of the computer this morning because
you're blind and you've got the font set up to like 200.
Exactly, and my Nook is missing, so my Kindle's missing.
Yes, because typical men who don't know where to put things properly and lose things and expect their wives later to know where everything is.
I'll say nothing to that. The smartphones with folding OLED screens have been around for over 6 years, but China's Readmoo is the first company to announce a consumer-ready e-reader with folding e-ink display. I like e-ink because it displays like paper and flashes like video in the sense of, hey, look, I can change it regularly. Although I don't see much need for a folding e-ink thing because I'm like, okay, e-ink is barely uses power as it is. Why not just leave it the full size?
Because isn't it a phone or is it?
It's an e-reader. It says.
It's
just another Kindle.
Okay.
I like how you just start sighing at that. Details on when its Moon Ink 5 will ship or how much it will cost.
More piece of equipment.
You're not wrong in the sense that most technology is basically just iterative at this point. There's nothing huge and cool yet. Couldn't have been haven't been announced. Yet the company says it spent 9 years working on the e-ink to display an electronic paper screen they claim can survive over 200,000 bends. When opened, the Moon Ink 5 has a 8-inch touchscreen based on e-ink's Gallery 3's display technology. Unlike the Kaleido 3 screen in the Kindle ColorSoft, which relies on color filter over black and white e-ink panel that limits color reproduction to just 4,096 shades, Gallery 3 uses color ink capsules that can produce over 50,000 shades at a resolution of 300 ppi. You know what ppi is more than I do. What the heck is 300 ppi?
Something per inch.
Pixels per inch?
Pixels per inch.
Okay.
That's it.
So 300 ppi, is that high resolution? Or
that's high resolution, yes.
What do you normally do for printing?
300.
All right.
If not higher.
Okay.
Depending on the where you're printing it.
So I like that it's a color e-ink display because color is cool. I can read comic books on it. That's about the only advantage I see of color. Yeah, exactly. It's like, ooh, yay. Because magazines don't exist really much anymore, so what the heck?
I miss magazines.
They still exist, but nobody buys them.
I used to buy a magazine every week to read on the train going to work.
Now we don't go on trains to work. Although Ink has demonstrated prototypes of foldable e-readers in the past, its display technology is much thicker than OLED panels, making it more difficult to design a reliable hinge and a screen that can survive the rigors of daily use. That's the main reason it's taken Readmoo, I still think that's a funny name, so long to develop and refine the folding panel used in its Moo Ink V e-reader, Moo Ink 5 e-reader. At least they're going with the theme. If they're going to call themselves Moo in some way, shape, or form, at least go with it on all your names.
Moo.
Yeah, they're Read Moo, Moo, as in cow, Moo, and they're Moo Ink V or Moo Ink 5. You know, they can't hear you when you roll your eyes. Your eyes don't make sound effects when you roll them.
Sure. The rattle.
With a body made from lightweight but strong aluminum magnesium alloy finished with a silver metallic paint, Reed Moo says the Moon Ink 5 weighs around 225 grams, which is just a few grams heavier than the Kindle Colorsoft. Specific dimensions haven't been revealed, but when folded, its dimensions are smaller than a paperback, potentially making it easier to slip into a pocket than a Kindle. The e-reader can also be opened flat for reading or used at a 90-degree angle, similar to reading a print book, but it remains to be seen how comfortable the ergonomics of holding it that way might be. Huh. It's got one of those fat kind of three-part hinge looking things. It doesn't look like the two sides of the Moon Ink V5 lie perfectly flat against each other when the device is folded like phones such as the Galaxy Z Fold do. There's a noticeable gap near the hinge to reduce stress and damage where the ink panel actually folds, but it'll also be first folding e-reader to be available for consumers.
And if you drop it, it breaks. Whereas if you drop a book, it doesn't break. See?
I've broken a book by dropping it. It was a hardback book. Granted, it had an old hinge.
How can you break a hardback book?
He pops the hardback comes off of it, and it can come unbinding. So it's all the glue binding.
It must have already been.
Oh, it was old. It was
broken,
beat up.
yes.
It was a school book type thing.
Oh.
I'm saying it's happened. Yes, it's way harder to do to a book than it is anything else. Okay, okay. So we know your opinion on books. Everybody knows your opinion on books now.
I just like the idea of having books and then putting them on bookshelf and they look pretty.
They're books. And they don't get edited remotely or taken away from you remotely.
Exactly. You buy it and you own it.
Funny thought that. Okay, next up, we'll go to my friends at Pirates and Princesses for one of the latest announcements in Star Warsdom. Star Wars Starfighter is the newest announced film. Announced.
Yes,
Doesn't mean they're actually going to make it. They announced it. Now, the only reason why I brought this one up was because, personally, when it came to Star Wars, I always liked Rogue Squadron, Dark Forces, anything that did not have all the Jedis all the time, and then they made Dark Forces have Jedis.
Because you hate Jedi.
I don't like it. It's just like I was always reflected more on Han Solo than Luke Skywalker, or Lando Calrissian.
My favorite Star Wars.
Well, Lando was cool to me more than
I didn't
Luke.
like Lando. I didn't like Luke Skywalker either.
But Wedge was awesome. It's like all the other characters around who didn't have superpowers, but were still fighting the fight. Those were the interesting ones,
Look.
Star Wars Starfighter is the newest announced film. Star Wars Celebration is currently happening in Tokyo, Japan. During the event, it was announced that Star Wars film from director Sean Levy starring Ryan Gosling will be called Star Wars Starfighter. Ryan Gosling.
If I could do the Darth Vader sound,
I know what you're trying to do, but I'm just going to laugh and let it go. But I thought that was interesting. Ryan Gosling. And I was listening to the guys
as Han Solo.
As they don't know what his character is going to be.
Oh, he would be awesome as Han Solo.
It's going to be after Han Solo dies, is the timeline, so probably not.
Star Wars. Somebody like Han Solo.
Yes, it'll probably be some rogue super pilot type thing. Star Wars Starfighter will hit theaters on May 28, 2027. I call BS on that date. Landing just 3 weeks after another Disney blockbuster, Avengers Secret Wars, which premieres on May 7th, 2027. I will believe it when I see it.
What's Secret Wars again?
Another Avengers movie that we don't know much about. Because there's not been as... They've really dropped Avengers. It's really kind of fallen through the scope.
Marvel and Avengers with Loki in it.
That makes sense.
The old team.
You and everybody else.
I miss Loki.
Taking the stage, Gosling praised the script penned by Jonathan Troper, who previously collaborated with Levy on hit films This Is Where I Leave You and The Atom Project. Do you know either of those movies?
The Adam Project.
Isn't that the one where the
With
guy's
Deadpool. The
yeah
Deadpool guy.
yeah where he goes back in time to himself?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that the Adam Project?
I think that's the Adam Project.
We saw that.
Yeah.
Nothing to write home about.
I thought it was
wait till I am home.
the. I did find it funny that one of the commentators heard about Gosling being picked, and the first thing they say is he's just Ken.
Yeah, well, he's never gonna get rid of that now.
It's a funny song.
Just like Ryan Reynolds is never gonna get rid of the whole Deadpool persona. He does another movie, and everyone's gonna keep referring back to him as Deadpool, waiting for him to let out a Deadpool expletive. You know.
Or at least break the fourth wall, like in Guy, Save Guy. The reality is that the script is just so good, Gosling enthused. It has such a great story with great and original characters. It's filled with so much heart and adventure, and there just really is not a more perfect filmmaker for this particular story than Sean. Adding a charming personal touch, Gosling shared a photo of his childhood Star Wars bedsheets, humorously credited to his mother. She still has them, obviously, he joked. Naturally, she thought that I might be something the fans would appreciate, but I suspect she just sort of wants to justify years of hoarding. That sounds like my mom. I bet you my mom still has our Star Wars bed sheets sitting in a closet somewhere, or at least the Star Wars sleeping bags. Because you've seen that room that was my room.
No, I've accidentally took a glance at it when they accidentally opened the door, but I haven't been in there.
Well, I didn't be in there either, but I'm saying, I bet you it's still in there. Levy confirmed that Star Wars Starfighter is a standalone film unrelated to the beloved Star Wars saga, exploring entirely new territory set 5 years after the Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, so after the Disney trilogy that we never finished because we
What was
stopped.
the Rise of Skywalker?
That was the last of the three Disney
I
films,
didn't watch.
which none of us watched. We gave up after the stupidity that
No,
was.
I stopped watching Star Wars after Return of the Jedi.
Basically, yeah, nothing exists after that.
I tried to get into the other
prequels?
ones. Yeah, the one that happened before, you know,
With what's his name who played Obi-Wan?
Ewan McGregor.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. I mean, Natalie Portman did a good job of doing Queen Amidala, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
That's
and then
fine.
the next Star Wars thing that I sort of enjoyed was The Mandalorian. But thankfully, I don't think that had very many Jedi in it, well, except for
Luke briefly appears in it.
the short Yoda, whatever his I can't remember his name.
Grogu,
Grogu,
technically.
yes.
No, there's new trailer for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Yeah, but is it the same guy doing The Mandalorian?
Supposed to be.
Because I don't know if he wanted to do it anymore.
Mm. I bet you he's credited, but they haven't officially released that video. It's only to those who went to this Star Wars thingy that they got to see it.
Mm.
This is a standalone. It's not a prequel, not a sequel. It's a new adventure, Levy explained, noting it's set in an era previously unexplored in the franchise. Which I call BS because the extended universe that you all deleted Disney when you bought it went past that time frame. Still, production is slated to begin this fall. Casting is currently heating up with Hollywood buzzing about the search for a teen actor to join Gosling on screen, alongside a male and female villain duo. Plot specifics remain closely guarded and leaving fans eager and excited for more. Stay tuned. We'll keep you updated as the new chapter unfolds. What do you think?
I don't know. As I told you the other night, I think there's no really good actors left. Great actors left. You know,
You mean most people just play themselves at this point?
they're either retiring or the dead, or
They're not being found because Hollywood doesn't want to leave its
or they
cookie
just keep
cutters.
playing the same one-trick pony, and they can't do anything else.
True.
No names mentioned.
We'll leave it at that. All right, it's time for our last one. Speaking of old people and people who do the same thing over and over again. And the winner of the UK's Sexiest Man is an unexpected candidate has managed to topple the smorgasbord of sexy British celebs.
Smorgasbord?
Think Christian Bale, Idris Elba, to be crowned UK's hottest man. So I saw the headline, and I have read nothing past that point on this one because it sounded silly. These lists are always silly, but it's always fun to talk about them. And that's Toby Maguire, right? No.
No, Tom
What's his name?
Holland.
Tom Holland. Thank you. Yes.
Spider-Man.
I have no good with names. British television host Piers Morgan has been named Britain's sexiest male celebrity, topping the two-time winner Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
My eyes.
There must not be enough really good-looking men in the UK.
Who's voting?
And the women are starving.
Who's voting?
I don't know.
The beloved Top Gear host, 65, rate on him to win 2 years in a row. I like Jeremy Clarkson, but he's 65.
He's an idiot.
Has been bumped. Yes, that's part of his fun. Is bumped into second place in the annual. He's second place though. He still got second in the annual poll, with Morgan 60 emerging from the 40th place in last year's ranking. In typical fashion, Morgan had responded with the charismatic modesty and charity. Speaking to the Sun, he said, "This just proves the British women are the smartest and most discerning in the world, and most likely to appreciate genuinely magnetic sex appeal. My thoughts with Jezza, Bex, and poor old Prince Hypocrite Harry at this very difficult time."
Well, Harold isn't in the UK anymore, so...
Steamy website illicitencounters.com. Okay. God damn it. I guess I did ask who's voting. Carried out the survey of 2,000 UK women. Also making it into the top 10 with Morgan and Clarkson were Danny Dyer, Dermot O'Leary, Jonathan Ross, I know none of these people, Tim Lovejoy, politician Robert Generick, Bob Mortimer, Ben Shepherd, and Romesh Rangan
Nathan.
Rangnathan.
Okay. Nathan.
Whatever. Ramesh. I got Ramesh. The poll's spokeswoman, Jessica Leone, said, "Even we were taken aback when Piers soared to the top of the table. His unapologetic style clearly taps into something deeper for a lot of women: confidence, conviction, and not being afraid to ruffle feathers." You could have said that about Jerry as well. Piers also took to share the breaking news story, which was met with dozens of comments. "Okay, I don't understand your country," one wrote, which Morgan responded to with a laughing face emoji. "Sir, don't you mean broken news?" another quipped. You also have Tom Hardy and Jeff's. Okay, that's not Tom Hardy. Is it?
That's Tom Hardy,
That's
yes.
Tom Hardy, okay.
He's just gotten older.
"I think it proves us Brits still have a great sense of humor if you were both the top two choices," a third wrote. The online dating website for married people made global headlines for its annual poll when Clarkson was previously announced as the unlikely winner, first in 2023 and again in 2024. Voters were said to have been attracted to his bad boy farm vibe. This story appeared in The Sun and was reproduced with permission on news.com Australia.
There are probably cows that are more sexy than him. Sorry, bulls.
I just find this amusing.
Jesus.
Also, illicitencounters.com was the website. It's like, of all of the things to run the poll, obviously they probably hired somebody to do the polling for them, but still. Why? But I guess because it draws attention and people go, "Oh, what's going on here?" Still, I don't know how that boosts your brand or what have you to make people go to that site.
No comment. No.
Well, with that disappointment, we will let this episode end then for this week.
Yes, the second episode for Easter long weekend here in Australia.
So we hope to hear comments from you guys here, and we hope you had a great Easter weekend.
And Bill, thank you for tuning in every time we upload our episodes.
Yes.
Much love to you and the family.
Yes, nepotism rules. Yay. Thanks, bro. You guys have a great one. We look forward to hearing from you guys in the future. Thanks.
Bye.